Hey guys, welcome back to TLFC. So today we're going to talk about the 2024 Copa America. It's going to be held in the United States next year, and it will be the 48th edition of the tournament. Some of you might be thinking, what the heck is the Copa America? And if that's you, then you're definitely in the right spot, so stick around. At the end of the video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the giveaway that is still live, but until then, let's talk about one of the world's most prestigious continental soccer tournaments. Let's get into it. So what is the Copa America? The Copa America, to put it simplest, is an international soccer/football tournament that determines the champions of South America. The Copa America is actually the world's oldest still running continental football competition, and by quite a substantial margin. The Copa America, as it sits today, is generally a 10-team tournament, representing all 10 CONMEBOL nations. These nations include Argentina, who were actually the inaugural hosts of the tournament back in 1916 and are actually the current Copa America champions. Argentina have won the tournament 15 times and are tied for the most Copa America championships ever with our next nation, which is Uruguay. Not only is Uruguay tied with Argentina at 15 titles, in the early days, they were the dominators. They were the tournament's inaugural champions in 1916, and they actually won 6 of the first 10 tournaments. These days, they're in a little short drought. They haven't won since 2011, which was 5 tournaments ago, so a little long on their standards. The next nation on the list is Brazil. Brazil have won the tournament 9 times, with their first championship in 1919 and their most recent championship in 2019. Following Brazil, we have Paraguay, who have won the tournament twice, once in 1953 and once in 1979. And then after Paraguay, we have Chile, who in the mid-2010s, I'm not sure if you remember, had a real strong run of form, and they won the tournament back-to-back, winning in 2015 and 2016. After Chile, we have Peru, who were the champions of the 1939 edition of the tournament, and then had to wait 36 years to become champions again in 1975. Our last 2 remaining tournament champions are going to be Bolivia, who won in 1963, and Colombia, who won in 2001. This leaves only 2 nations from South America who have not won, which would be Ecuador and Venezuela. To be fair though, some of these nations didn't get to compete in the earlier renditions of the tournament. They didn't even participate. For example, the first 5 tournaments only featured 4 nations, which was Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile. In fact, most Copa Americas in the first 30 years only featured 4 or 5 nations. So it kind of explains why the other nations are a little bit behind. It was not until the late 1940s that the tournament saw its first 8-nation involvement, and we actually didn't see all 10 South American nations compete in one tournament together until 1979. So there you have it, right? It's 1979, all 10 teams are competing, and that's how it is now, today, right? Wrong, because starting in 1993, the Copa America that was to be hosted in Ecuador would take its final form. The tournament would now include teams from CONCACAF, bumping from its traditional 10 to 12 teams, inviting Mexico and the United States to play in their first Copa America tournament. I already told you the winners, so no team from CONCACAF has ever won, so we'll just skip that part. But from 1993 to 2015, the tournament would have 12 teams with 2 invitees from CONCACAF region, except for in 1999 when Japan were invited along with Mexico to make the 12. Japan was actually the first country outside the Americas to compete in the tournament and competed once again in 2019 along with Qatar, and they're actually the only 2 nations who are not from the Americas to have competed in the Copa America. In 2016, the tournament was hosted outside South America for the first time ever in the United States, and would also feature for the first time ever 16 teams, having 6 teams from CONCACAF joining the fray. This was also the 100th anniversary of the tournament, and it was known as the Copa America Centenario. So this was a really cool, historic event because it was the first time there was a tournament between the best teams from North America and the best teams from South America. It was an awesome tournament in which Chile defeated a Lionel Messi-led Argentina to become the first champions of both the Americas while winning their second straight title. So yeah, that's a little background on the Copa America, and in this new 2024 edition, hosted by the United States, this will be the 5th time the United States has had a chance to compete. So, why should you care?
No, and I don't care.
Well, our best ever finishing in the Copa America, or any big tournament for that matter, is 4th place, which we got in both 1995 and the 2016 Copa Americas. So we do not as a nation have much successful history in this tournament. However, that is something that this current group of US men's national team players will be hoping to change this time around. I think most US men's national team fans, and even ex-players, would probably agree that our current pool of US men's national team talent is stronger than it has ever been. For example, the 2016 team that competed in the Copa America featured 13 MLS players of the 23 players on the roster. Now, I'm not here to say bad things about the MLS, but our current roster is made up of nearly all European-based players, playing for much larger European clubs than even the players who were playing in Europe in 2016. These are extremely competitive leagues in Europe, with constant threat of relegation. The pressure is always on, and therefore the demands simply are higher. The US men's national team has completely evolved since 2016. It's only been 7 years, and there will likely be only one player from the 2016 team on the 2024 team. A player who in 2016 was only 17 and would become the backbone of the current US men's national roster. Of course, I'm talking about the LeBron James of soccer.
This guy's like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
Definitely.
Christian Pulisic. So 2016 was a big year for soccer in the United States. It was the year we saw Christian Pulisic explode onto the scene at Borussia Dortmund and change the US soccer culture and the mentality of young US soccer professionals. From 2016 onward, a lot of younger players were looking for bigger challenges and were looking outside of the MLS, especially after the failings of the 2018 World Cup. It was time to take on bigger challenges and simply just get better. So this is a big reason the upcoming tournament is such a big deal for soccer in the United States. It is an opportunity for this young crop of talented European-based players to prove themselves and to get experience playing against the best teams in the world prior to hosting the World Cup in 2026. Yeah, that's right. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the United States is hosting the World Cup in 2026. That makes this 2024 Copa America an incredibly important test for these young players to prove their mettle and to gain valuable experience against some of the world's top players. This group of young players has done quite well in domestic North American tournaments, but they have mountains to prove against opposition outside of our region, to be frank. So here's a look at some of the teams that they will be competing against in the 2024 Copa America. The games are going to be held in 14 host cities all across the United States, and will begin with a group stage which will have 4 teams in each group, so 4 groups of 4. The group stage will be followed by a knockout stage, which is pretty similar to what we would expect in America to be like a March Madness style knockout tournament. Not the best position to be for the United States playing against the 15-time champions Uruguay, but it's time to start belonging in these tournaments. You know, 4th place is our best finish in a truly big tournament that would be worth bragging about. So it's time. It is time for the United States to find some relevancy in world football. And in my opinion, it starts with the 2024 Copa America. It starts with these players finding a way to compete with the Brazils, Argentinas, and Uruguays of the world. It's time for US men's national team coaches to learn to adapt to a higher standard or simply get out of the way. Because I think most of us fans and Americans in general are not okay with 4th place finishes. So most American fans don't really care about Gold Cups and CONCACAF Nations League. They're great, but we don't really care. Why? Because the rest of the world doesn't really care about those tournaments. It's time to start winning the ones everyone else wants to win, the ones where the rest of the world can't help but tip their cap to the winners. So it starts next year, 2024, at home.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
We start to make a name for ourselves. We start to begin belonging in these tournaments.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Instead of just participating in them. Next year, we start our journey to the 2026 World Cup and true relevance in world football. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around for the end of the video. As promised, our giveaway is still live. We're giving away these two cards, the Matisse Tell /75 purple foil and our Inferno foil Lionel Messi. So once we get to 100 subscribers, one of you guys is going to win both those cards. I might add another card to it next week. We're going to be ripping some packs next week, so stick around for that. And then I also purchased a few more grading slots with Tag. We're going to be doing Tag X this time. I purchased 3 slots, so we're going to go ahead and submit some cards. So we got some good content coming up. So thanks again for watching the videos, guys. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Take care. Oh, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.